Hello, everybody. This is the Director Creator's Commentary. My name is Dobie. I made Midnight Visit. You're currently listening to the commentary track. So I'm going to take you step by step through just my thoughts and feelings as this sort of unloads. I actually made this film because I was looking at videos on TikTok of like TikTok horror, and I noticed that they all had the exact same formula. And so I said, well, I could do that. And I had this apartment to myself, this entire area, and I decided, hey, I should go and make a movie too. Or it was at least like the short. And when I did the short, people just said, hey, you should just expand upon that. So that's exactly what Midnight Visit is. Here's my attempt at acting. I'm not an actor, but I wanted to make a short film about as cheaply as possible. And because I filmed myself for the short known as Midnight Snack, I had to essentially just recast myself. But this was a lot, actually. I actually had to take myself to a very dark place to get those tears. They were very real. Long story short, I had to think about my dead dog. I'm not even kidding. I actually had to think about my dead dog, and that's what made me cry. So if you need a little acting tip, torture yourself. Hurt yourself. That's the only way it'll work. I still don't really like the title of this thing, Midnight Visit, but I mean, like, it is what it is. Here we are. It's the worst shot in the entire film. But here's all my lovely friends that helped me out, helped make it and finance it. That's Arya, just taking off now. That's Ricardo. He's actually he's responsible for a few of the original tracks for the film. He's a very talented musician. And that is Val. Some people probably missed this when they first watched, but that's Lucy. That is the character of Lucy. I hope that they at least got that when they watch it. There's a lot of VFX shots in this, and if you look very closely at the headstone, you will see that I scratched the name out of the tombstone. That is my friend and roommate Brendan, who plays the brother, aka the creature. Yeah, I think if there's only one thing that I can give myself a really big pat on the back for, was that I think this is very well shot, and I think the sound design is pretty good for somebody who doesn't do sound design. Because if you're wondering, there isn't a single sound recorded in camera. Everything was built from the ground up. So I tried to create a very textured soundscape, where you hear every little bit of the fabric moving, you know, skin on skin. You have one message. That's the actual voice from that actual answering machine, by the way. I got that running around the city trading on Facebook Marketplace. And that's actually her voice recorded through the answering machine. That's Valentine. So all we did was we got her to feed her lines into the answering machine, and then we played them back as I recorded it with a boom mic. So all the horribleness of that is real. That's how it sounds. So that was all done analog. In fact, most of the sound design and everything was done analog without applying any post-processing. Every sniff, every sound, everything was done with Soundly, captured on my boom mic, and any vocal stuff, any vocal work, even these sucking in a breath and breathing and all that, that was done on this exact mic, which is a Shure SM58. Also, you'll notice in the sound design that there's a theme of wind, which is something that I think that I'm going to incorporate in all of my films. And if there was a date I could put on when this film took place, I would say about 1998, probably September, and then it goes into October of 1998. is when this is supposed to take place. Classic haunting, where they knock it, was it knock and dash or whatever, and then crank call you. That's a classic poltergeist activity. Hello? Oh, every sound you're gonna hear right now of the creature breathing and talking was done with a phone mic that I bought off eBay that's modified, where somebody put a recording device inside of a phone to get the realistic phone sound effects of somebody talking through a phone. Oh, Mark, trim your nose hairs. Jeez. So I thought that was very creepy, and it was actually very effective. And again, that wasn't recorded on a good mic and then modified. That was done analog without any post-processing. There's actually a VFX effect here where we filmed this in such a way that you could barely see the letters. So actually I increased the intensity of the analog, the clock, the alarm clock. So that's actually when you see the letters and they're bright and red, that's a completely different layer, where I just had to like essentially brighten it because it was not coming up on camera. It looked very unnatural because with this night shot, I tried to shoot this sort of like the cinematographer for Robert Eggers' films. I'm forgetting his name. It's, maybe his last name's Blaschke, where you sort of have night vision. And red is one of the, you see in sort of a bluish cyan sort of color. So that's why this looks so pale blue, kind of grayish cyan. It's because I wanted to capture what it accurately looks like to my eye when night vision sort of activates. So obviously the creature's voice is just me, but I was thinking that if it's mimicking the brother, then if it sounds like me, that's not too far off, is it? It took me a lot of takes just to get an intimidating Ryan sort of out. But yeah, I was very proud. Actually, in fact, I think this was the hardest shot of the entire film. There's a much harder shot coming up. But it was getting the lighting right for this sort of night vision was very, very difficult. Essentially, it just flooded the room with very even tone blue light. And then just sort of worked out. In post, I just took all the highlights and then cranked them down almost to 0. There's actually, I actually increased the brightness just around my face as well. So that's a little artificial that you can just barely see my face, is that I had to increase, just like put an oval over my face and increased it in another layer. My horrible acting, by the way. Oh, so this is the hardest shot, actually, in the entire film. Again, I shot, if I haven't mentioned this yet, I shot this thing almost exclusively by myself. Only when Valentine or Lucy's character shows up did I have any other crew members helping me. I shot this completely alone. Like every other shot is completely 100% alone. So with me moving in the background, you see through the photo, because that's me, it's always me, and then the camera tilts, it gets to its marker right about now, just after the 15 mark, second mark, because I'm looking at the clock, because that doesn't change. And then we cut to me coming through the door. This is 3 separate shots spliced together. From me moving in the background to the camera tilting to me showing up on camera right. That was all me. Behind the camera moving it, moving in the background, and then moving into camera through the foreground. And I had to stitch that together. It was all shot in camera. Almost no VFX was used. Oh, if you look very closely in the back right, you'll see the creature slowly appear in the background, if you've got a keen eye. That was all shot in camera, and the hardest part was syncing it up with the clock and the record player, which are moving. So actually, if you look at the second hands, they don't jump at all. They're in sync, and that's because I just timed everything. I love this. This is my favorite scare in the entire film. This is like why I wanted to make this quiet jump scare. It's very Japanese horror. There's my roommate, Brendan. I love this jump scare so much. I consider it a jump scare because it is a reveal. It has all the fundamental, and this chime sound, that was stolen from the movie Seance by one of my favorite Japanese directors. Oh, now I'm forgetting his name. It's Kiyoshi Kurosawa. He made Pulse, Cure, Seance, and many, many, many other films. Hey, it's Valentine. She did a great job on this. She was such a trooper, too. The ADR, and everything's ADR. There's a single voice that you hear that was recorded in camera. What a cliche shot. What a cliche scene transition, you know? Using the kettle sound and then cutting to it. But I love it. It's effective. I love the shot. This is one of my favorite shots just because we have the threat of the bathroom in the background, and it's just perfect. And we build towards that. I'll pat myself on the back. I think I did some things right with this film. I think I screwed up in a lot of ways, but this was a great first attempt at a film, I think. So, what did you want to talk about? Sorry. The ADR was killer on Val. She did an amazing job, but oh god, it was such a strain on her, but she's such a trooper. Like she did not complain once, but I could tell that her energy was just draining while we did this because it was hours and hours and hours. It took the length of filming this film 2 extra times over. So this film took 3 times as long as it should just because we had to ADR all the dialogue. You did not want to hear the audio that we recorded in camera. It was very bad. It was worth redoing all of the dialogue. This is objectively better than what it could have been. And unfortunately, you have to suffer through my horrible written dialogue, which is something I'm very much trying to work on. You might not know this, actually, because when Val showed up, I threw the dialogue together, and Val came over, and she's like, you repeated yourself like 18 times in the thing. And I took the script, and I just scratched giant chunks out of the... We absolutely butchered this script and ripped it apart to shreds. And I said, no, we're going to do this. And we had to come up with this on the fly. So she should kind of get a writing credit because she helped with that. Yeah, this day it was Arya, Andy, Valentine, and me. Just the 4 of us. 4-person crew. But I love this. This is the only part of the dialogue that I liked that I wrote was the dream. Could have been written better, but I think it's the strongest bit of dialogue, apart from the very, very end, where I go, you don't even look like my brother anymore. I like how this draws you in, and there's a subtle zoom in this shot that's very, very, very slow. But if you sped up the footage or cut from the beginning to the end of the shot, you'd notice this big punch-in. But it's very creepingly slow, and I like those. It's a digital zoom, unfortunately. I don't own any zoom lenses, but I'll probably either purchase a dolly or a zoom lens specifically for shots like this because I like everything to be done in camera. There's a lot of VFX, a lot of hidden VFX in this movie, but the more I can avoid of that, the better. I like to do everything in camera. Even the color grade and everything like that is barely touched, barely altered. Just darken the image. She actually had more lines after that. I genuinely thought you were dead, but I had to cut it all because I think it was just too long. And again, redundant. I write in such redundancies. I need to change that about myself. I do like this shot. Oh, this shot exists. This shot we're looking at exists, the door, because we forgot to film the rest of her lines. And so I had to creatively come up with a way, and I had to go into my bed out of stress and edit the movie in my brain. And I came up with a solution, was just like, how about we just film the door and we just slow push in on it, and then, oh, the lights turn off. Ooh, and then you see the creature's eyes slowly come in through the doorway. And you know what? It worked. And everyone I showed it to loved it. They were like, oh my god, that's so scary. And that was way more involved than just simple shot reverse shot, which I hate so much, and I tried to avoid so much. Worst shot in the film, by the way. By the way, this sequence with us not hearing my dialogue was only done because of the feedback I had gotten from friends and fellow filmmakers, and they said, wow, because I hadn't recorded my lines for this yet. And it was just blank like this. And I said I was having difficulty recapturing the pain in my voice that was there the day of when we recorded. And they said, you know what? It's far more effective like this with this beautiful music. Thank you, Kayuja Reborn, by the way, for this music. They said it's far more emotionally intense and beautiful if we don't hear your voice and we just hear this melancholic music and just see your reaction. And I said, I really want the audience to understand what I'm saying, so I hard-coded the subtitles in as well, which I think was a smart choice. I think this is actually kind of a beautiful scene in a weird way, and it ended up being very ethereal and very strange and artsy, but it goes with the vibes that I was trying to create when making this film. That something about we never hear his voice in the past.
Do you feel his presence?
No.
I like that subtle look when I say no, and I look towards the bathroom. That's like one of the only clever acting things I did.
It doesn't look exactly how I remember.
Yeah, I'm so self-critical about this film. There's so much wrong with this, and I tear it to shreds. I fall in love and I fall out of love with this film every time I watch it, I think. There's so much where I'm like, God, I wish I changed that. I wish I did a better job. But this is quite literally the very first short film that I've ever made, so I guess I should cut myself some slack. There's so much potential to grow here, and the fact that I'm being so critical means that I can probably do better in the future. Oh, that wall to the very far left of frame is digitally added in. You could see all of her back, everything, but I cut it out and pasted it in. One of the best shots. And then one of the best jump scares. That always gets people. It's not even the loudest door slam in the film, but it's so sudden and it gets people a lot. I hate the dialogue here. It's like, whoa, it's so Marvel. It's like, Brian, where'd you see it last? In there. And everything like that. Like, don't hold this against Val. Don't hold this, like, hold this against me completely. I wish I had written better dialogue, my God. Because she did a great job. She's selling it.
I need you to draw a line of salt outside your bedroom door and hold on until the morning.
And I think she's selling the intensity of the scene.
Ignore it.
And also, can I say that Val did an incredible job with that oneer. That was a 2-minute talking scene straight where all we do is push in, no cuts. And she fucking nailed it. And she nailed it on her second take. So, round of applause for her. And I love that line, "This isn't your brother." It's perfect in how it builds up to it and how it's, done, and then we cut away. It's perfect. Yep, fake lights, or at least there's a VFX effect there with the lights. Oh yeah, I had to add a little sound effect for the tick when it ticks over to midnight, which is something that none of these clocks do, but it's just, it felt like when it naturally clicked over, it didn't feel right, if that makes any sense. It didn't, it's like there had to be a noise, like a little. By the way, this is the last audio thing that I recorded because I actually sold a lot of the gear that I recorded this movie with. So the mic, the lenses, and all the audio you're hearing currently with the matchbox, everything, and the lighting of the candle, that was quite literally the last thing recorded for this film before I published it. And that was it. And I got rid of the lens, so that's it. Can't record anymore. And this right here is the original Midnight Snack short film. So everything that was filmed around this, before the scene and after the scene, was to make a TikTok scary video, which didn't do well. I thought it would pop off, but it didn't. And then somebody asked, oh, well, what happens? There's so much implied. So I like this because it is its own short film. And the dialogue is pretty good. It's better than the rest of the film.
I said I don't want to talk to you anymore.
This song was even chosen because it is that TikTok scary song, the Al Bolin Heartaches. It's a great song, but it is so overused, and there's a part of me that wishes I tried other songs, but it just didn't work. This one just really worked. Oh, the only thing that was changed from the original was this reveal of the creature. I did a much better job. I taped a bunch of branches to the back of my head and then did an eye shine effect in camera, which you'll see. So that is all in camera, except for the candle. That's actually a completely separate shot. Because again, if I shot all of this by myself, who the fuck's holding that candle? And how am I standing there at the exact same time? It's like I would just film it twice and then add it in post. Hey, there it is, Adobe Film. Well, it's very short. There's even a special effect here where there was a label on the record player. And people hate that brand, and I noticed all the comments were making fun of the brand of record player and how shitty they are, so I removed the brand label. I tried to remove the brand labels from everything too, so yeah, if you look closely, you might even actually see there's like a small beige block that's cutting out the label on the record player. But yeah, this was all filmed afterwards, and they're all just meant to connect, so I think I did a pretty good job. There's me naked. A lot of me naked in this movie. This was actually, I think this was one of the hardest days of shooting, because it was one of the last days I had the apartment alone to myself. And getting all that blood all over me and everything, it just didn't look real on camera too, so I had to soak myself in blood. I had to pour... See, it doesn't even look real. It just looks like weird stains. It's supposed to be dried blood, like it's been given time to coagulate and dry on the skin, which it does, but I just wanted it to be like, it looks like there was a struggle. I think this is the last thing I got to shoot in the apartment when it was alone before my roommate moved back in. And this was so hard to get because if you notice the eye shine, this is the first time I tested it, and it's real. The eye shine is real. That was all shot in camera with a one-way mirror. I used the Blade Runner effect. So, again, I gotta say that I think this was really fun shooting for the fact that there's so many practical effects. And I really tried to get it all in camera. I think that's what sets it apart from maybe other films. I could have used VFX, and I did for lots of little things, but yeah, that's essentially it. Thank you again. Thanks for joining. Bye.